Imagine holding a secret so heavy, so profound, that the only solution is to bury it. Not once, but twice. In 2016, beneath the rolling green fields of Scotland, archaeologists uncovered something that shouldn't exist. A stone so massive, so perfectly positioned, that it could have rewritten everything we thought we knew about Neolithic Britain. They photographed it. They measured it. They documented every impossible detail. And then, they put it back in the ground. No museum display, no tourist walkways, no protective glass dome. They covered it with earth and walked away. Tonight we're going to explore what lies beneath that Scottish field, what they found, why they buried it, and why some discoveries are too dangerous to leave in the light. This is the story of the stone they buried twice. The year is 2016. Location, a remote stretch of farmland in the Scottish lowlands, miles from any major settlement. A team from the University of Aberdeen is conducting a routine geophysical survey. They're using ground-penetrating radar, technology that can see through soil like an X-ray through flesh. The equipment starts picking up anomalies, not small ones, massive geometric signatures, perfectly aligned, buried 6 feet down. Dr. Sarah Morrison is the first to see the readings. She'll later describe this moment as the most unsettling of her career, because what the radar shows shouldn't be possible. A stone chamber, precisely carved. The central monolith alone weighs an estimated 40 tons. That's nearly twice the size of the largest stones at Stonehenge. But here's what makes it different. This isn't just big, it's sophisticated, advanced, the kind of construction that suggests a level of Neolithic engineering we've never seen before in Britain. The team makes the decision to excavate. They bring in heavy machinery. They dig carefully, reverently, knowing they're about to expose something that hasn't seen daylight in 5,000 years. The first stone breaks the surface. Nobody speaks. Nobody moves. Because it's not rough-hewn, like most Neolithic monuments. The surface is smooth, almost polished. And carved into its face are symbols. Intricate, deliberate, unlike anything in the archaeological record. One team member will later resign. Another refuses to discuss it publicly to this day. But the question everyone is asking, what did they actually find down there? Let's talk about what makes this discovery so extraordinary. The main stone, the one they eventually reburied, measures approximately 18 feet in length. It's positioned vertically, thrust deep into bedrock, surrounded by a circular chamber of smaller megaliths. The Neolithic period in Britain spans roughly 4,000 to 2,500 BCE. These were farming communities. They had stone tools, basic pottery, primitive agriculture. Moving a 40-ton stone requires sophisticated engineering, lever systems, rollers, coordinated labor forces, planning. But here's the problem. There's no quarry within 50 miles that matches this stone's composition. Geological analysis shows it's a rare type of granite found only in the Scottish Highlands, over 100 miles north. They somehow moved this monolith across mountain ranges, through forests, over rivers, without wheels, without metal tools, without any of the technology we consider essential for such an endeavor. The Egyptians moved similar stones for the pyramids, but they had thousands of workers, copper tools, and detailed records. The people who built this left no trace beyond the stone itself. But it's not just the logistics that trouble archaeologists, it's the symbols. Carved into the stone's surface are patterns that don't match any known Neolithic art. They're not the simple spirals or cup marks found at other British sites. These are complex, geometric, almost mathematical in their precision. One archaeologist described them as disturbingly deliberate. Another refused to include them in the official report, The symbols seem to form a pattern, a sequence, almost like instructions. Which brings us to the question that haunts this entire discovery. What were they trying to communicate? And to whom? 3 weeks into the excavation, the team holds an emergency meeting. This should be the moment of celebration. They've made the discovery of the decade. Universities would fight for the rights to study it. Tourism would transform the region. Careers would be made. Instead, they're discussing whether to cover it back up. Dr. Morrison presents the case for reburial. Her reasoning is unusual, to say the least. First, preservation. The stone has survived 5 millennia underground. Exposure to air, moisture, and temperature fluctuations could cause irreparable damage within years. Some Neolithic sites have deteriorated rapidly after excavation. Second, security. Word is already spreading. Metal detectorists, amateur archaeologists, and treasure hunters are making inquiries. Protecting a site this remote would require round-the-clock security, resources the university doesn't have. But there's a third reason, one that doesn't appear in any official report. Several team members have reported experiences, equipment malfunctions concentrated around the stone, unusual sounds during night watches. One researcher describes feeling observed whenever near the excavation. Psychological effects aren't uncommon in archaeology. The isolation, the pressure, the significance of the work, it can create a charged atmosphere. But when the entire team starts reporting similar phenomena, it becomes harder to dismiss. The vote is taken. The decision is made. They will document everything, then rebury the stone exactly as they found it. The archaeological community is shocked. Academics call it irresponsible. The public feels cheated. How can you discover something this significant and then hide it away? But the team remains resolute. Some secrets, they argue, were buried for a reason. So what exactly is down there? Why would Neolithic people invest such tremendous effort into building something only to bury it? Theory 1. It's a tomb. But there are no human remains, no burial goods, no indication that anyone was ever interred there. Theory 2. It's astronomical. Many Neolithic monuments align with solar or lunar events. But this stone's alignment doesn't correspond to any known celestial phenomenon. If it marks something in the sky, we haven't figured out what. Theory 3. It's a marker. Perhaps ancient peoples were indicating something beneath the stone. A natural resource, a sacred spring, a geological feature of significance. But ground-penetrating radar shows nothing below except solid bedrock. Dr. Richard Henley, an archaeologist not affiliated with the excavation, has proposed something more controversial. What if it's a warning? Throughout human history, we've created monuments to commemorate events, but we've also created monuments to prevent events. Markers that say, do not disturb, do not open, stay away. The question is, what could Neolithic people have been warning us about? Some researchers point to mythology. Scottish folklore is filled with stories of stones that shouldn't be moved. Legends of ancient peoples who sealed away dark things beneath the earth. These are just stories, of course, folklore created to explain mysterious landmarks. But every legend starts somewhere, and sometimes the oldest stories contain the truest warnings. Here's what we know for certain. The stone exists. It's real, documented, photographed. The excavation happened. The reburial happened. Everything else is speculation, but let's consider what the reburial tells us. In archaeology, the greatest sin is to leave a discovery unstudied. Every excavation destroys context. Every artifact removed from the earth loses something intangible. Archaeologists are trained to document everything, Because you can never go back. The fact that trained scientists chose to rebury this without exhaustive study suggests something profound. They determined that leaving it buried was more important than understanding it. That's not a decision made lightly. The site remains unmarked. The exact location has never been publicly disclosed. The university owns the land now, purchased quietly through intermediaries. If you wanted to find it, you'd need to know exactly where to look. And even then, all you'd see is an empty field. But it's down there, waiting, watching, remembering. 6 feet of Scottish earth, separating us from something our ancestors decided the world wasn't ready to see. And maybe they were right. Sometimes the most important discoveries are the ones we choose not to make. Throughout history, humans have buried things we fear: radioactive waste, toxic chemicals, failed experiments. But what if we're not the first civilization to do this? What if our Neolithic ancestors understood something we've forgotten? That some things belong in the darkness. The stone remains buried. The symbols remain unread. The purpose remains unknown. And perhaps that's exactly how it should be? Because the real question isn't what the stone is. It's what the people who built it were trying to keep contained. That field in Scotland looks peaceful, ordinary, just grass and wind and silence. But deep beneath the soil, 40 tons of carved granite sits in perfect darkness, waiting, as it has for 5,000 years, as it will, perhaps, for 5,000 more. Some doors, once closed, should stay closed. Some stones, once buried, should stay buried. And some secrets are better left in the ground.